Hello and welcome to another episode of the Phoenix Wisdom Podcast. I am your host, Janet Sandberg. Aside from being a suicide awareness and mental health advocate and volunteer with the crisis text line, I am also an intuitive coach and healer, helping you connect with your soul's passion and wisdom to create a life with meaning and purpose, especially if you've struggled through major life transitions, loss, or, of course, suicidal ideation and mental health. Today, we are talking to Kirtti Sharrma, who is joining us all the way from India. And I'm so excited to talk to her today. Welcome, Kirtti.
Hey, thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm super happy to be here.
Good, good. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Kirti Sharma. I'm from India, and I'm a spiritual coach. But I call myself energy alchemist because I'm all about reading energies of my clients and bringing in easy to follow steps. So my journey is learning more and more about spirituality and using it in my daily life so that I can change my life as well as I can change people's life who are going through struggles and hurdles. And in spirituality, mainly, even though I have been through life coaching, Reiki, and hypnosis, NLP, I have got all the certifications and you name it. But I go and ask everyone in my tribe that meditation is the only thing that you have to start. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. I love it. And yes, all of the certifications, it gets addictive after a while. You learn one modality and you're like, oh, but there's more.
Yes.
And you just keep learning and growing. And of course, we're on our own journey so we can help those that are a little bit behind where we are now. So tell us
Yes.
about your journey. What was going on in your life when it wasn't good, when you were feeling like you might end it?
If I'm looking at right now, suddenly I feel that throughout my life, I said, why am I here? I just don't want to survive on this planet. But the real struggle started after my father's death in 2012. That was the first biggest moment when I went through grief. And then later on in 2017, I was 16 and 17, I was in suicidal depression. Depression where I wanted to finish my son, kill him, and end my life. Because
Oh my
for me,
gosh.
I had abusive marriage, and I used to feel that no one can save me
Mm.
from it because my father is no more. I don't have a brother in India. Ladies, although we are changing too much, but still, some people are like I was housewife at that time. Even
Mhm.
though I kept learning and learning all these things, but the mentality of small town people are still like that. That housewives don't have a voice; they have to live in a family, right? So I became that after my father's death, that no
Mhm.
one is going to save me, right? So everything was going so bad. He didn't used to trust me. For some reason, he was getting over possessive over me. I don't know why. I used to stay at home doing nothing and going out nowhere without him or my son. And still, he used to think always like doubting that I
Mhm.
might be with someone or something. I don't know why, but later on I came to know that it was his problem, his psychological problem. But at that time, I was on a place where I used to think that I birthed my son, brought him into this life because I felt that no one loves me and this child is going to love me. So I need someone to be hooked on, to have someone who can unconditionally love me. So I brought him into this life and I can't leave him. So I can't die without him. I need to finish him somehow and I need to finish my
Wow.
life. This was almost a year trauma and
Yeah.
it kept going on and on. And suddenly it happened that all your prayers, when you are in struggle, you are in too much of darkness. At that time, what do? You surrender. I did the same. I surrendered. I said, God, I can't tolerate this anymore. Either finish me and my son together. You can't leave him and finish my life. You can't do that.
Right.
See, I had that condition on God as well at that time. So I was like, just take me out of it. Do whatever you want. Take me out of it. I can't live in this life at like this. So things happened. It was the worst thing that happened to me that he pointed out that I mean, I can't even spell the words like infidelity because I never have thought about it. I'm a person who is in marriage, and according to Indian or all those people who used to, I mean, our ancestors, it was like once a woman get married, she gets out of her husband's house only when she is dead, right?
Yeah.
Only on her deathbed. So that was my mentality at that time. So I was not ready to leave, and then God gave me that hit. Although at that time I cried, I cried. He throttled my neck in front of our son and his mother. We live with our parents, right?
Hmm.
So his mother lives with him. He throttled my neck, saying that you have an affair with someone, which I never have. I never met that person. So I didn't go down and affirm that yes, I did. Why should I do that? Right? I was standing for myself at that time, which he didn't like.
Right.
It hit his ego that how can you do that? If you did that, you have to say sorry that you did that. I said, no, I haven't. I can't do that. Why should I say sorry? But that was the take that I took for myself, and it hit his ego. He throttled my neck, and in front of his mother tried to hold on and stop him. But that was the moment when I almost died.
Mhm.
Almost died. For some moments, I saw my father, and I said, "Papa, take me with you. I can't. I can't do this. Take me with you."
Wow.
And at that moment, I heard that it is not your time. You have to stay here. My son started crying. It was like milliseconds of death and rebirth. My
Mm.
son started crying out loud, Mama, Mama. He was 7 at that time. So, 7-year old seeing his mom being brutally hit, another trauma. So, I got up somehow. I took him and ran up into the room and closed the room. I don't know what happened. I slept. I opened the door and I slept. I knew that he won't hurt me anymore because I don't know why. But next morning he cried and he said, Sorry, I did wrong. But somehow I was traumatized. I was done.
Yeah.
And after a few days, my mom came because this thing was going on for some time and I didn't talk to my mom or my sister. I have a sister, younger sister, and I thought, why should I create problem for them? Why should I share
Hmm.
with them? I used to keep everything to me
Hmm.
because I thought no one is going to come and help. At that moment, I realized I'm the one who needs to help myself. No one is
Yes.
going to come. And here I am, happily, happily, happily enjoying my life after 7 years. Yes, almost 7 years. And after coming with my mom, I never get back. Never went back. He came, he said sorry, but I felt that no, I can't do it again, no
No,
matter what happens.
exactly.
So in 2021, I get the divorce with him. Meanwhile, I healed myself with spirituality and with mainly meditation and Reiki. So this is my story.
Wow. Yeah. And it just good for you. Like that takes so much strength to just be like, no, like I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm gone. Especially, I feel like it would be a lot harder in India to do that with the way the culture is set up than maybe here in North America. But yeah, Although, I mean, that said, when you have a near death experience, that kind of makes your mind up for you, right? Like, somebody on the
I
other side is saying, like, no, it's not your time. You need to go, you need to live.
Mm,
And I imagine that would be in itself a great boost of strength.
yeah. At that time, I was already working with psychic abilities, refining my psychic abilities. So I knew that angels, archangels are with me, and so many gods and goddesses are helping me. But that was the moment I usually used to think that nothing happened. I used to cover that. I
Mm,
don't know, for milliseconds or seconds, if something like this happened, you can't call it near death experience. I don't know why. But later on, it revolved in my mind so much that God wanted to let me know that it happened. It
mhm,
happened for a reason so that you can stand for yourself more strongly.
mm,
And the smile, earlier I used to cry and I used to share my story of hurdles or this specific thing. I used to cry. But now I let it go. It was a memory. I need to let it go. I need to keep it away from me. And now it is easy. With time, it heals.
it does. It does. It might never go away, but it definitely gets a lot better.
Yes.
So tell me more about meditation and particularly the kind of meditation that you do. I mean, we've had other people on here talking about meditation and everybody has their own little variety, I guess, of meditation and the things that work for them. So I want to hear about your meditation.
For me, I never stopped at the books or the guided meditations. And the problem is like I wanted to go deeper and deeper and deeper. I don't know which place I wanted to reach. The beginning was um, in 2000. Yes, in 2000 or 2001, when I was in school, my father's friend walked me down into a meditation. At that time, I felt an energy of Lord Vishnu, and it was so immense that I was like, this is the energy I want to reach. I
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this energy? I need to experience it. Later, I learned Reiki, and in 2004 and in 2006, I get the Grandmaster certification. And I was like, still, I'm not there. With time, when I started experiencing that God or Lord just worked from me or through me, it became meditation. So I used to sit for hours putting on the music or a guided meditation for the time being.
Okay.
Later on, when I was in this struggle, I started with Goddess Kali,
Mhm.
and she became a mother for me because I wasn't able to share with my mom or my sister at that time what was going on. I used to sit with her, talk to her as a mother, and I felt immense love. I felt like I'm lying down in her lap. That
Oh,
was the
beautiful.
energy I wanted more and more. So I
Yeah.
kept moving on and on. Later, as a business, I set this spiritual thing as a business. So I used to let people into meditation, and it was all channeled at that time. Whatever used to come, I used to just help them relax. And everyone has a great experience at that time. So it took me years and years of practice. Now I just sit down and converse with God or universe, whoever you want to call it. So
Mhm.
I conversed with them. It changed, it evolved with time.
Yeah. Yeah, as it does. You know, the more we do anything, the more the better we get at it, but also the more it changes and evolves as we grow and evolve. So do our practices. I love that picture of just, laying in Goddess Kali's lap, just the love and the safety. She's there keeping you safe, especially when you didn't have that, especially that feminine love, from your mom and your sister.
Yes.
So, and yeah, also the fact that when we are struggling, we just don't talk to people because we
Yeah.
don't want to burden them. We don't want to make their lives more difficult. We don't want to involve them. It's like, you know, we're doing terribly, but we should be the only ones. So
Yes.
until
Always
we,
realize that we should talk to
Mhm.
right people because, like, now after doing counseling, I realize why haven't I approached a counselor? Why haven't I worked with a counselor who could have helped me?
Yeah,
Now I think of that in
yeah.
that way.
I mean, we're not meant to carry those sorts of burdens by ourselves. We're meant to have people help us and support us. So we need to talk to people. And I feel like we say this on every episode, find somebody to talk to, but it's so true. Like as soon as you tell somebody what's going on, it eases your burden and gives you more strength, even if all you do is talk and that person can't really do anything concrete to help you. Just, telling somebody what's going on, getting it off your chest, sharing that burden with somebody can do so much and give us
Yes,
just that little extra bit of support that we need to take that next step.
yes, true. That's true.
So how old is your son now?
He's 14 and a half, going to be 15 soon.
Good.
He's a mama's boy, knows what I am doing, knows about spirituality, but right now, as a teenager, he is not into it. But I force him to at least meditate for some time,
Mm,
do something to relax.
that's good. That's good. Yeah, my kids, my daughter's starting to, so my kids are 22 and 24 and
You don't look
have
like.
thanks. Um my daughter is starting to get into and she wants to do it her own way, of course, like sometimes she'll steal books off my bookshelf, but not the ones that I suggest, the ones that, she's interested in reading. She does oracle and tarot card readings now. And she's exploring her spirituality and her intuition. My son is very intuitive as well, but just has no interest in learning more about it. He has his own interests and
Mm,
passions. But anytime anybody asks him, he makes new friends. So what do your parents do? And he's like, my mom does stuff. I'm like, you can
oh,
just say Reiki. Most people have heard of that, and that's okay. You
oh
don't need to get into all the rest of it. You can just be like, Reiki. She helps people.
my God. Yes,
Yeah. But
that's
and
so.
your story is a little bit different because, with your son, you were like, it's all or nothing. It's both of us or nothing, which makes makes more sense. I guess for people who don't have children, that might not make sense, but especially when they're little, and what was the option that he would be raised by this man if you were to leave him here. So that makes a lot of sense. And our kids save us in so many ways. And it was the same. I was a single mom and their dad lived in a different country. Not only, excuse me, aside from just losing their mother, if I had gone through with it, their lives would have been so different and changed so much. And I didn't really want their dad raising them full time either, just because he wasn't capable, I
Mm,
feel. Maybe I would be wrong, but yeah, it was just like, "No, I have to stay here for them. I have to make sure they're okay. I have to make sure that they don't end up where I am now."
exactly. That's the only point. The moms, or maybe, I mean, I joined a single parent group after that. So I realized that even male who are living with their kids, whose wives left them, going through the same thing, I
Mhm,
realized that the one who is going through all this hurdle knows in their mind that they can't leave the child.
mhm.
They can't do that to their children. They
Yeah,
can't leave.
yeah. So, thank goodness for the kids. And sometimes in
Yes,
some of the I'm pretty sure it's people I've talked to on the podcast, it's not even their own kids. It's like nieces and nephews. It's just, children in their lives that they feel a responsibility towards. So, all right. What advice would you give to our listeners who are in the darkness and struggling right now?
I will say a few things. First, that yes, there is darkness, and you have to know, focus on light. If there is darkness, there's going to be light. You're going to be saved out of this issue. Secondly, go and grab someone who is professional, because
Mhm.
after coming out, I did psychology and understood, because I did counseling psychology instead of clinical psychology, getting masters into it. So I realized that when you talk to a counselor, it is so much unburdening all those traumas, and then they lead you through therapy, which can help you to come out of that trauma so fast, really fast. And if you can learn some kind of modality that heals you internally, do that, and keep patting your back that you can do it. No matter who
Yes.
comes or who, no one comes, you are here and you can do it on your own. And have that, like for me, there was a child for whom I have to live or survive. If we are sent here on this earth, there must be a bigger reason. We are not sent here to just end our life because of these hurdles. This is just trauma. I had been through so many traumas, but I survived each trauma thinking after this there will be light. And yes, there is light. There will be darkness and there will be light. After every night, there is morning and then there is light,
Yes.
night. So believe that everything is just helping you to evolve as a human being, as a soul. Keep moving on. And there are so many, like you are hosting this beautiful podcast to help so many people. There are so many other people who is their hand. Just hold hands and
Mhm.
stay with them, talk to them. It is going to help you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. And it's so true. And of course, the reason for the podcast is that we start talking about these things more openly. There are so many of us that have survived suicidal ideation and or attempts, but you don't know because nobody talks about it. So you feel like you're the only one that's ever done that. So not only, talking helps you share that burden, talking to a professional helps them guide you through some healing, but also you find other people who have been through what you've been through, who are feeling what you're feeling. And that is priceless. And like you said, we were put here for a purpose. I saw in a email, I think from Mel Robbins, who's a inspirational,
Yes.
motivational speaker, among other
Mhm.
things. She learned recently that there's a something like a 1 in 400 trillion chance of us just being created. Like the odds of, two people making a baby
Mm.
and that happening. We are all just walking miracles.
Yes.
So there's a reason that we're here. If we get through those odds, we can get through anything.
And I always say, if I can do it, you can do it as well. I always
Absolutely.
say that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all just people going through this life together. And there's nothing that, makes any one of us who have gotten through and seen the light any different than someone who hasn't, except that we're a little further ahead on the path. Well, thank you, Kirti, so much for being here and sharing your story. I really appreciate you and the work that you're doing. So I look forward to seeing the rest of your work in the world following along with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to this podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for listening. Remember that you are loved, you are worthy, you are valuable, you are meant for more, and that it really does get better. If you are in crisis, there are numbers that you can call or text to get the help that you need. That information for Canada and the US is in the description below each episode. If you are in immediate crisis, please call 911. We love you, and I hope you'll listen again.